If you be worthy, you shall possess the power of Thor.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Across the Bifrost, the Mighty Thor podcast, where on each and every episode we explore the world of Marvel's Mighty Thor. I am your host, Ryan Doze, joined today by Warriors 3 member, the Faz Guardian. Faz, how the hell are you doing today aboard the Rainbow Bridge? We're back to the normal Rainbow Bridge.
I'm good. I gotta say, I miss the rock music and all the Roxxon ads. That money was really helping us out, the crazy amount of branding. But it is
Brought
good
to
to
you
be
by
back.
Roxburger.
It is good to be back with no Roxxon signs and without that dirty money there with us. So I'm excited, Rye Guy. How are you?
I'm good, man. I thought we were talking a few weeks ago about just where we're at in the Immortal Thor run. Where if you count Roxxon presents Immortal or Roxxon presents Thor #1, which believe me, fans, you should. Um, we're 10 issues into this run, almost a year, which is sounds insane to me, Faz. That we're almost a year into this book, this relaunch of the Thor,
I guess we are because
line.
we're at 9, eh? That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, in just a few weeks, we're gonna have Immortal Thor #10
Wow.
come out. So I thought it might be a good time for us to just kind of like think back on the issues that we've had. We'll go probably we'll go kind of chronologically and just give like little thoughts. I've reread a few issues since they came out because they're just so gosh darn good.
hmm
And some issues are fresher in our minds because we most recently covered them on the podcast. So you know what? Let's start before. I don't exactly remember the date that this happened, but when the announcement broke that Al Ewing and Martin Coccolo and Alex Ross were a part of this relaunching of the Thor book after the Donny Cates run ended a little unceremoniously because I don't feel like Donny really got to finish his
hmm
story. And Torrin Grunbeck came in, and as she said in a conversation she had with us on this podcast, her job was to land the plane,
hmm
and she landed the plane. So the
And
previous
she did a
run
great job.
ends.
They
Yeah,
did what
like
they could. Like it was a story that could have gone for another 15 issues, and they were told to end it in 3 or 4. And they did a
yeah.
great job with what they had to.
So that volume ends. We have a few months of dead space, and then this Immortal Thor gets announced. Faz, like, take me back to that, like your feeling, because I remember we were on the phone that day, just
Well,
texting up a fucking storm.
do you remember like it was leaked? So we got like
It was
leaked
leaked,
cover
yeah,
art. It's like Alex Ross is doing the covers, Martin Coccolo is doing the writing, Hal Ewing is doing Thor, and we were like, is this our are we all having a public fever dream right now? Because this
right,
seems like our absolute dream. And then yeah, it was crazy. And then Marvel came out and we're like, well, it's leaked already. And they announced it the next day and it was real. And Al was giving
yeah,
stories about it. And he told us about it was the first time he mentioned, I like a Thor who smiles. And he's kept that running
the
through.
Thor,
And
yeah, the
it's
hopeful
crazy.
Thor.
Yeah, like the,
Um,
to go from all-star group to all-star group, like us Thor stands have done very well. I've read the last 25 years of Thor comics now. And there hasn't really been a bad run.
yeah, like there's definitely the runs that are more sentimental to us.
hmm
Like for me, longtime listeners of this podcast will not be surprised that Jason Aaron's Thor is almost unable to be topped
hmm
in my mind. Um, as much as I love Al Ewing, as much as I love Martin Piccolo, as much as I love some of the older like the Fraction stuff, um, you know Straczynski's Thor is good. Like it's not that there's bad Thor, it's that there's Thor that is more significant to you. And that comes down to personal, preferences. I'm not saying that Jason Aaron's Thor is objectively better, but in my mind, I was like, okay, that run is really hard to top. When Al Ewing and Martine get announced for doing this book, and we get that first little teaser in the Thor annual, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be an incredible ride. I just have
Mm.
a feeling about it. The thing that it got leaked was kind of interesting to me because I remember getting sent a post from, I believe our buddy Brandon Blocksdorf sent me something, and he was like, "Did you see this?" And I was like, "What am I looking at? Am I looking at a limited series? Am I looking at a full, is this the Thor book now?" And then, of course it got clarified, this is the Thor book going forward. Under this masthead, it will continue the legacy numbering. So I guess the next thing is, Faz, that first issue. The first issue comes out, and we hold it in our hands. We hold the original cover. We hold the Martin Coccolo, it's flashy, foil-ish cover, and we read it. Like, what do you remember from the first issue?
I remember, and I've got it in front of me here to ensure too, it being maybe the best relaunch issue I've ever read. And I thought I was just a biased Thor stan, and I went back and I read a bunch of reviews, and most people say the same thing. It resets the lore. It takes the lore that Al wants, it kind of softens up the lore that he doesn't want. It gives us a new iconic costume. It gives us Martin Coccolo's fucking incredible art. It gives us the Alex Ross cover with the iconic moving through the screen, just like the Immortal Hulk start. It's a perfect, tight narrative, tells us about the big story, gives us a nice narrative in there. It takes the time to show that Thor is a champion of Midgard again. And it goes through all of that while he's smiling and hopeful. And I remember thinking to myself, just like you, Ryan, Jason Aaron's run is the most iconic Thor run in my mind. I've read them all now. It's the first one I read all the way through. Donny Cates is the one who got me into comics. Jason Aaron is the one who I read the whole thing through with the War of the Realms arc. After this issue, I thought to myself, holy shit, there's a chance these guys can top them.
Right.
How about you? What'd
I
you think?
think Well, I think the first issue, when you go back and like read it now, there's so many great things about it. That we see him going around Midgard and actually just being a decent hero.
Hmm.
He gets a little bit involved with like the fall of the X-Men stuff with the agents of Orcus, I think is what
Orcus,
they're
yeah, yeah.
called. Yeah. I'm not super knowledgeable about that event, the outcome of the Hellfire Gala this year or last year.
I,
Last
I
year.
I
Wow.
think that it's ending in like an issue or two. I think they have their final stand happening right
Right, right. Because I know, like, I think it's June or July is like the big X-Men relaunch.
now. Hmm.
And we're getting all these different books, and oh, so and so's on this book, and so's writing this, and so's doing art on that. X-Men is kind of X-Men's always the cash cow. Them and Spider-Man seem like they're always the ones that are going to get those big, huge relaunches. But it was awesome, like as a Thor fan, to get a big relaunch
Yeah.
where there were long boxes. There was, I mean, I literally have an Immortal Thor #1 poster in my room, that I look at, every day, and it's just kind of become part of the the aesthetic of my room. Is, oh, there's Immortal Thor. That's something that I get a chance to look at every day. Um, I loved how this reset the narrative. I love that we also, just like as a nerdy monster movie fan, I love that we got to see Thor in like a giant kaiju battle against this Tyrannos, this elder storm god. I freaking loved that.
Yeah.
And I loved that even early on, Al started to do the deep pulls and the references of characters we hadn't seen in a long time.
Hmm.
It was refreshing. It was nice to see. I really love the first issue, and it makes me want to go back and reread it, even now.
Yeah.
Um so Faz, like with that first little arc, that 2 through 5.
Wait. Before we're
A lot.
there, two more things on
Yeah.
one.
Oh, yeah,
Number
yeah, go ahead.
one, the panels of him playing chess in Central Park and taking photos with Thor cosplayers are the most iconic to me for very
Yeah.
obvious reasons. And the
Right.
last letter that Al wrote explaining his intention for Thor and why he wanted this character is really special.
Yeah, I agree. I
Those are,
agree
anyway, that's
wholeheartedly.
it on that. To two and three. Let's talk about those next, Ryan.
Yeah, 2 and 3, we see Thor, best Tyrannos for the time being, and then we go into this side quest of him forming Tormod, who is the new axe that embodies the wisdom of the All Father. Because don't misremember, Thor fans. Thor is All Father now. Odin has not shown up properly, again, but in a non-flashback way.
Hmm.
Odin has not shown up in this because we left Odin as deceased, not on this plane of existence for now. I mean, who knows what will happen. Um, so Thor is All Father. He's All Thor, and he has all these powers that we're getting to see come to fruition. Crafting Tormod. Um, what did you think of 2 and 3? Like looking back.
So two was the end of the first battle with Tauros, right? And then
Yes,
passing out on the moon after burning the Thor force.
right. Because he
And
uses the
then
Thor force to throw him as far as he can
yeah,
across the universe.
and then three is Loki trapping him in the realm. And it's a great use of Loki in that people are like, oh damn, Loki's evil again. Loki's really messing with
Yeah,
Thor. And Loki says all that stuff about, do you trust me? Do you understand
yeah,
that sometimes I need to be evil and it's for your own good? And we learn that Loki's really just buying Thor time for him to recover from the Odin Force in a space outside of time, so that Tauros doesn't come back and destroy Midgard while we're waiting for him to recover. And
yeah.
he gets the wisdom of the Allfather via Tormod that he forges himself. And it's just like the story continues to weave. We've got some good action, but we don't need any action. And it's one of the first times that we start seeing, you know what, actually, these issues are even really good when Thor's not hitting stuff with hammers. Just him
Right,
talking and
absolutely.
learning is just as interesting and just as intriguing. How about you, Ryan? What do you
I
think about two
agree.
and three?
I totally agree with what you said. Like, I love the use of the Thor force. I love the use of Loki. I agree with
Hmm.
you completely. I love the use of Loki being almost like a necessary evil, being the yin to Thor's yang, being the other side of the coin. And when Loki is at their best, like being this like how you sharpen like a knife like with a whetstone. It's like, yeah, you're scraping off, but you're scraping off the imperfections. You're scraping off the things that need removed. And Loki is almost that for Thor in especially issue 3, which I love. Kind of the iron sharpening iron, the
Yeah, that's
sword
exactly
getting
it.
sharpened for the next battle. Which the next battle comes in issues 4 and 5. Tyrannos returns, and then Thor has to assemble a brand new Thor force, or a
Thor
Thor
core.
core. Thor core. Oh, buddy. He has to reassemble the Thor core, and this version of the Thor core is the best. Honestly, in my opinion, it's the best one yet.
Yeah.
It's Beta Ray Bill, it's Loki, Jane Foster, and Aurora Monroe Storm. I was such a big fan of these issues. And I love that the power of Thor via Mjolnir is the thing that makes all of them, I don't know, just special. And they're constantly tossing the power, throughout the combination of the 5 of them. All of them are empowered by Thor and Mjolnir. They all get their turn, and Tyrannos is defeated again. We can pretty strongly assume like for a time.
Hmm.
So Faz, just those are just my little thoughts about this. These were big action issues. We see some really cool kind of interactions with Thor and Aurora. Storm is just a top tier X-Men, my
Oh yeah.
favorite X-Men. I absolutely freaking love that character. But what did you think of the of 4 and 5 wrapping up the first arc?
Two really important things. The way that Thor shuts down the idea of power scaling and who would win in a fight in comics
Right.
with the it really depends on who wants it more really and who needs it more in the moment. We're all heroes, we'll all do what needs to be done. Essentially, whoever the writer wants and the rest of you can F off. Loved that, especially seeing Storm not do any damage to him because he's the All Father, and then use atmospheric pressure to actually get to him a little bit and see a little bit of damage there. A great way to pay respect to both of their power. And secondly, this is one of the first times that we see Thor solving the problem without using the hammer. He doesn't defeat Tyrannos by hitting him so hard that Tyrannos is destroyed or killed or knocked into Helheim or anything like that. He defeats him by making him worthy of the power of Thor and redefines the power to include compassion and include
Right.
the positive aspects of what makes him a hero, not just the lightning wielding powers and the cool costumes. That's really cool.
The giant kaiju Tyrannos with the hammer and the armor and everything.
Yeah, and the
That's
helmet,
man,
yeah.
man, that must have been a fun day at the office for Mr. Martin
Oh,
Coccolo.
certainly.
Um, so speaking of fun days at the office, Immortal Thor 6 and 7. These issues are incredibly trippy and almost like Alice in Wonderland through the looking glass kind of style of storytelling, where Loki retells the events of Thor issue 272 all the way back when. He retells those he retells the story of that issue, and I believe the issue that follows. But as his magic is working, and Loki's magic is working as the Skald of the realms, the teller of the tale, there's other magic at work. And we find out that that is Amora, the enchantress, working her magic on behalf of the Minotaur. Scourge is also there. And in
Scourge
these
is also
issues,
there. He
Scourge
helped.
is
Thank
also
you very
there.
much.
And Scourge helped a little. We go into the Utgard realm a little bit. We see so many cool like nods to mythology
Hmm.
in these two issues, and also I'm just gonna say my favorite part of these two issues, bar none, is the fact that Martin Coccolo drew the Midgard serpent, and it
Yeah.
blew my freaking mind. The Midgard serpent is one of my favorite Thor adversaries, and drawn to perfection in a very Simonsonian way with the side tusks and the big maw. Like I freaking loved it so much. That was my favorite part of these two issues. I know there's a lot of storytelling in here. I know there's a lot of like, trippy, interwoven story connecting. I honestly, man, I just like big monsters. So Faz, what was your favorite parts or the things you remembered from 6 and 7?
Well, the most memorable part is obviously that's Asgard's ass when
That's
Loki's trying to
Asgard's
sneak him
ass.
through. And those
Yes.
aren't the lyrics or the words that were used, but that'll be in my brain forever. The classic
Thou
retelling of
must do
this
more
myth.
squats.
Yeah. You need to pay more attention to your flabby behind or something like that. For one so muscular, what are you doing? Yeah. Um,
Oh man,
tis
it was kind of like a
Asgard's
little brother
behind. Yeah.
adventure.
It was really fun. And the sinister inner workings of actually the Enchantress is doing some crazy stuff. You guys are gonna love it kind of stuff. It was really nice. And again, Martine didn't just draw the Midgard serpent beautifully. He also drew the Utgard Loki in a giant version who looked really cool.
Yeah,
And it's just there's a lot of you can really start to feel the meta-ness of Al during these books, and
I
you can start
agree.
seeing like, okay, so things are getting a little crazy now. And it kind of leads into Immortal Thor 8, Ryan, which talks
Right.
about where we're going next with the story and what happens there.
So in 8, Thor goes and confronts Gaia. And Gaia was teased at the end of issue 1, I believe, where we find
Yep.
out that she is in league with Utgard Loki to the extent that she is allowing access to Earth, to Midgard, for these elder gods. She tells an entire epic story about an elder war of gods that we believe is going to pay off big in the next few that might be the end game. Like, I wonder if Atun is one of the end game characters um, in Al's, big meta narrative over, the what 50 issues he said that he's got, at least thought out. Um, but Gaia is confronted by a very aggressive Thor, and Thor says, "Hey, um, you allowing all this, bad stuff to happen doesn't sound like mercy." And Gaia says, "Hey, you're my mercy. You being on Earth, you defending Midgard is my mercy. So, if you want to, and I'm paraphrasing here, but if you want to point your anger in a direction, maybe point it at, at something, not me, because TikTok time's running out." And then that leads us to nine, where nine was one of my favorite issues so far, Baz, like where we saw Thor go into Roxxon, and we got to see this B level story, this hot behind the scenes story with Amora and Scourge and the Minotaur. It came to the forefront, and we're in this this Roxxon story where we learn about the Rox Dome and the illusions of the future and capitalism and all this kind of stuff, and then we're introduced to Roxxon Thor. So what did you think of 8 and 9, man? I thought they were stellar. I really, really like 9.
Well,
I
firstly,
really enjoy 9.
we had two sets of really nice guest artists coming in, pinch
That
hitting.
is true.
Roberson did an amazing job doing the kind of grimy and broken down and almost horror-like Gaia. Very
Oh
different
my
than what we're
gosh, the
used to
horror
seeing.
Gaia was great.
And it was just like the way that she's essentially like, I'm over it. I've let you guys do what you want, and you've been just taking me for granted and damaging me, so I'm done. I'm wiping this slate clean and trying again, unless if you can fix it, Thor. It's cool. It's a really nice connection to the story. It brings the A and the B plot together, like you said, and forces Thor to show up at Dario Agger's office for some of the funniest writing, one of the snippiest
Oh,
dialogue we get, the Buy American Made stuff about the number going
by
up,
American, as it were.
some very poignant discussion about late stage capitalism, and it's really it's going places this run. And I know, I know
Yeah,
there's dude bros out there that are disappointed because they wanted a punch kick Thor, and instead we're we're learning things and we're making
we got to turn our
statements, but
brains on for this one.
it's truly art that we're getting. It's got a point, it's got a purpose, and we're learning and what that purpose is, and the story matters, and there's a reason why they want to tell the story that they're telling. And that's really, really, really good. Like
Yeah,
I love stories where Thor just bashes the shit out of somebody. But for a 50 odd issue arc that's going to be making big themes and telling grand tales about something that matters, that's really cool.
I agree. I totally agree. And the last issue in our 10 issue kind of run up to now is Roxxon presents Thor #1.
Hmm.
And we won't hit you with all of our thoughts on that one because we just covered it on the last episode. So if you want to hear more of our thoughts on any of these issues, we have a full episode that's devoted to each of these issues. You can find out what our thoughts were at the time. Like, you can even go back and probably listen to some of our way off predictions of things that were going to happen. But I thought that Roxxon presents Thor #1 was a real good it was a real good palate cleanser. It was a real good kind of meta way of telling us kind of maybe some of Al Ewing's goals for the goals for the book, some of the things that he wants to get across. But Faz, that being the last issue that we've covered in our our 10 issues so far, what did you think Roxxon presents Thor #1 added to this Immortal Thor run so far?
Well, I mean, Roxanne Thor is obviously the greatest comic of all time. So
I mean, it is
what didn't that?
unquestionable.
Yeah,
Objectively, it's the best.
I know it continues to hit the themes home, sometimes directly on the head and banging you in the head with it until you can really get it, but in a way that's so smartly written and so satirical and really kind of getting to the point of what this whole mini arc is about in a way that's just it's really fun. Like it was the most fun I've had reading a comic in a while, and the most fun we've had talking about a comic in a while, certainly.
Oh, for sure.
And
Laughed
it's
our goofy asses off.
like the fact that they took the time to make this book a comic within a comic within a comic just to have fun is great. Like that's like if you were to tell me 9 months ago or however long it was when Al was announced that within the first year we would have a comic where Thor is reading a comic and inside Thor is reading a comic about reading a comic, and I was to understand that that would make perfect sense and that it would be telling an important story and not just some silly fourth wall breaking stuff, it would have blown my mind. And here we are.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was so good. So good. We have a lot to look forward to in the next few, issues. A lot of the covers have been released for the
Hmm.
next few. Uh have you been able to look at some of these upcoming covers?
I have. I actually have Immortal Thor 13 up right now.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at the man, I'm looking I had not seen the solicitation for it.
Yeah. So also, did you see the thing about the new series artist?
I
So
That's really the only thing I'm looking at right now.
yeah,
So first thing that I see is Enter Hercules. I'm a big Hercules fan, so I freaking love the look of that. So Immortal Thor 13 is the furthest out solicitation we have. So we're reading this from the solicitation on I'm on Marvel Wiki. I know that if I had a paper copy of the preview in my hand, I'd be reading this off there. But
and it's important to note for listeners too, these things are made like 6 months ahead of time. Like Alex Ross has
right,
made the covers and stuff, so it might not be one to one what actually happens. So don't worry about that.
we're
Go ahead, Ryan.
just reading the information in front of us. This is as far out as we can go right now. So we've kind of given you our review of what has happened. This is as far out as we can speculate. With Immortal Thor 13, it says, "Enter Hercules. The son of Zeus sought Thor out, for Tyrannos' wheel had turned for the Olympians too. So we know Tyrannos is coming back.
Hmm.
Um, and the two gods together might solve such a mystery. The trail took them to the wasteland of snow and ice, to terror and treachery, into an old foe of Hercules at the height of her dread power. New series artist Jan Basil Dua draws the story for the Immortal Thor and the Night Mother's vengeance." Woo! Okay, so Faz, have you read any Jan Basil Dua uh, drawn books?
I'm taking a look right now. I haven't, but I can happily say she's the one who did the new Captain Marvel look,
Yep.
and Carol looks frickin' sweet with that outfit.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm pretty pleased with that. I don't know enough about her to have an opinion one way or the other, but from what I can tell, it looks really cool and I'm excited. How about you, Mr. Rye
So
Guy?
another thing was Jan was a Stormbreaker in
Yeah.
2023. So I mean, incredible artist. I love her style. I have read, the some of the Captain Marvel stuff. She's done a lot of. I feel like she's done a lot of covers. But also like the Captain Marvel work is is really great. I've loved that book so far. Obviously, it's Alyssa Wong written, so we're already here for that. And Jan did a great job at just the design of the character, the vibe of Carol. So I have a feeling we're probably set in how Thor's gonna look. But just knowing that we're gonna get to see her touch on that will be fantastic. And it's also nice. It's just nice to know maybe where we're going a
Yeah.
little bit. It's nice to know that we go from great artist to great artist.
We are
So,
well taken care of with Thor, which is great.
right. Think, you know, at the risk of maybe presuming too much, this probably means we're done seeing Martine on Immortal Thor, which pains us.
It's
And again,
devastating.
we're just going off solicitations. Who knows what this means? I obviously only time will tell. But going from Martine, who is, an amazing artist and an amazing person too, has been very generous to us and given us maybe more time than we deserve. That's been great. But I hope, maybe in the future we can talk to Jan and
Hmm.
talk to her about her approach to Thor and her appreciation of the character and what maybe this opportunity has been like for her, because I think that would just be interesting to find out. One other just little interesting note on Jan's work is this is not her first time in the world of Thor. She did the 2019 Loki miniseries.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, there was she was it does say here that she was credited under a different name. So I don't know what that's about. I'll have to maybe go check that out. Um but yeah, it's not her first time in the world of Thor. I have a feeling we're going to be very well taken care of. Like Faz said, we're going to be eating good as Thor fans. But Faz, do you have any like final thoughts on kind of just this way look forward of where we're headed a few months down the road?
I just continue to think we're super well taken care of. It looks to me like the story is unfolding just as Al wants, and there's some really cool stuff. The 12 cover looks cool, the 11 cover looks cool, the 10 cover looks cool. All of the ways they're going with it. Can't wait, man. Can't wait till 10 issues from now. We're talking again about what they've done since we last recapped the whole thing.
Yeah, I can't wait as well. We're probably going to have a few really great fill-in artists. I know until we get to that issue 13, Faz, you and I both looked at I believe it is I I apologize if I'm not pronouncing this name correctly, but Carlos Magno
Hmm.
was working on Immortal Thor 10. I believe that's what we saw on his socials. That was on his socials. I'm not quoting anything else there. And then number 12 says it's Valentina Pinti, who is not an artist I'm overly familiar with.
Hmm.
But I'm excited. I'm excited to see like, all these different vibes of Immortal Thor. I don't know about you,
Definitely.
man, but yeah, it looks like Valentina Pinti is been
Well,
working on
and
the Blade book.
and so far it seems like they've kind of really connected with the specific book they were doing. Like Roberson was perfect for the horror style book. Magno was perfect for the Roxxon style book. And like it seems like we're continuing to get Greg Land was perfect for the Roxxon Thor book, right? So I think they're doing a really good job picking their guest artist for the specific story that Al wants to tell. And I trust them on that. I don't know the one that you mentioned as well, but I'm sure I'm gonna love the art when I see it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's just kind of our speculations moving forward. Same great Alex Ross covers, same great Al Ewing writing, but those are just some of our thoughts about where Thor is headed after we broke down a little bit of where we've been. This has been some of our favorite things, some of the best things about Immortal Thor so far. Everybody, if you would like to support what we do and maybe at the next level, help us pay some bills around here, we have a link in the episode description where you can support us on Patreon. For a few bucks a month, you can get pre-games, bonus episodes, you can get early audio. You would have gotten this episode several days early, just so you know, if you're part of our Patreon. If you want to talk to Faz or I, or any of our other hosts of friends about Immortal Thor, about some of our other shows like Superpower Happy Hour or The Near Fall, our new wrestling podcast, you can reach out to us on Discord. We have a great Discord server there. Just some friends there just talking about the things that we love. Faz and I hang out there pretty often. And if you want to talk to us, on our social media, we really only use Instagram. So if you want, there's links for both of those in the episode description. But yeah, for myself, for Faz, this has been our look back at the immortal Thor that has been, and our look forward to the immortal Thor that soon will be. So, yeah, for us, we just want to say, no matter what you're doing, no matter where you are, just remember one thing, and that is to stay worthy.